What if the very characteristics that made Munetaka Murakami a generational icon in Nippon professional baseball are the same structural defects that ultimately depressed his market value on the international stage, forcing him into a 2-year, $34 million short-term contract that stunned the baseball world?
That number, $34 million over 2 years, is not pocket change. But when you consider a man who crushed 56 home runs and was supposed to be the premier offensive talent of his generation heading to MLB, that figure feels less like a crowning achievement and more like a massive, collective shrug from major league front offices, the kind of short-term, prove-it deal usually reserved for bounce-back candidates, not former Triple Crown threats. And if you're trying to understand the complex, often frustrating economics of the modern Japanese baseball superstar, you've come to the right place. Welcome to 601 Daily, where we analyze the hidden costs of NPB's scoring drought and how it has fundamentally altered the valuation curve for every hitter contemplating the jump.
The narrative surrounding Murakami's postseason journey was dominated by anticipation, whispers of deals exceeding $100 million, perhaps closer to $150 million. Yet here we stand, watching him sign with the White Sox for a deal that prioritizes annual value over security, a glaring contrast to the mammoth contracts handed out to comparable pitching talents like Yoshinobu Yamamoto. The immediate, surface-level critique from MLB analysts echoed across the internet was simple and brutal. Murakami's average isn't special enough for a long-term commitment. One high-ranking National League scouting director, speaking anonymously, was quoted saying, "The power is obviously elite, generational even, but the .255 average and the high strikeout rate, it signals a high volatility risk. You can't commit 9 figures when the only consistent thing is inconsistency."
We aren't sure what environment that power was generated in, or if it travels. This is where the argument shifts from a simple talent evaluation to a systemic critique of NPB itself, a factor that we believe is the root cause of the valuation gap. We must look at the alarming data. The NPB scoring environment has cratered, dropping from 6,445 total runs across both leagues in 2021 down to 5,654 in 2025, a staggering reduction of 791 runs in just 5 years.
This isn't a natural cycle. It's a crisis driven by the instability and inconsistent specifications of the baseballs themselves, often dubbed the infamous Kato cue. When the game shifts so wildly year to year, the ability to make meaningful cross-era or even year-to-year comparisons for hitters vanishes. An NPB analyst, Kenjiro Toda, put it sharply, "When the league is constantly fiddling with the ball's seams and composition to try and stabilize scoring, all you succeed in doing is creating high variance for hitters. They cannot rely on consistent carry or flight path. But a pitcher's velocity, spin rate, and command, those are intrinsic qualities, easier to quantify, regardless of the ball. This environment is inherently biased against the hitter, and MLB scouts know it."
This is the core conflict. NPB's defensive, pitching-dominant era, fueled by inconsistent equipment, creates an artificial ceiling for even its best adders. The counter-argument we frequently hear is, well, if Murakami was truly elite, like Shohei Ohtani or even Hideki Matsui, he would transcend the league environment. But this argument fails to grasp the severity of the structural problem.
Yamamoto, for instance, received his generational contract because pitch metrics are global. A 98-mile-per-hour fastball with elite spin is a constant across leagues, unaffected by whether the ball carries 10 feet further or not. Murakami's skill, hitting a round ball with a round bat, is inextricably tied to the flight dynamics of the ball. If the league can't even stabilize the equipment, how can MLB scouts trust the player's numbers? They see a player who, in the current NPB landscape, struggled at times to maintain a high average, leading to the brutal assessment. He's a true talent 250 hitter who needs to prove he can adapt to major league pitching consistency before we bank $150 million on him. The short-term deal, therefore, becomes not a rejection, but a calculated demand. Escape the NPB environment, play with stable, standardized MLB baseballs for 2 years, and then we will talk about generational money.
Murakami gets to skip the lengthy service time and prove his true worth on an even playing field, a strategic victory in disguise. It's an acceleration clause disguised as a discount. He walks away in 2 years, still young, having proven his ability to handle consistent baseball and pitching, ready to grab the $200 million deal that was always meant to be his.
Ultimately, Murakami's contract isn't a reflection of his talent. It is a damning indictment of a domestic league that has allowed instability to devalue its own offensive superstars. The question now isn't whether Murakami can hit in the majors, but whether NPB will ever address the fundamental issues of equipment consistency that are hamstringing its stars.
Will they continue to inadvertently push down the global market value of every future slugger hoping to follow in Murakami's footsteps? Tell us what you think in the comments below. Is this 2-year deal a disaster for Murakami, or the smartest strategic move he could have made to escape the suffocating NPB environment and secure a massive payday later?
Don't forget to like this video, share it with fellow baseball fanatics, and subscribe to 601 Daily News for more deep dive analysis on the economics and drama of professional baseball.